Really? Do you know where? Or Bethesda Court. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a little ways. Yeah, not bad.
Hi, good afternoon and welcome to the 4 to 5. I'm Addie Gardner here with Dej Moise and Eric Chilton this afternoon. The 4 to 5 is an interactive news show and it's built to connect you with your community and us. So during the breaks, join our conversations on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Be sure to use our hashtag 4 to 5.
A Kentucky grand jury indicted one former officer in the Breonna Taylor case. You might remember Taylor was sleeping in her home when officers served a no-knock warrant at her home in March. Her boyfriend thought someone was breaking in and fired a gun. Officer shot back, injuring her boyfriend and killing Taylor. This afternoon, a grand jury indicted former officer Brett Hankinson in the case. He's charged with 3 counts of wanton endangerment in connection to the raid, specifically for the shots that entered other apartments. The other 2 officers involved that night were not charged. Listen as Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron explains.
Our investigation found that Mattingly and Cosgrove were justified in their use of force after having been fired upon by Kenneth Walker. The grand jury voted to return an indictment against Detective Hankinson for 3 counts of wanton endangerment for wantonly placing the 3 individuals in apartment 3 in danger of serious physical injury or death.
Again, none of those charges relate to the shots fired into Taylor's apartment, as the grand jury found the officers were justified. Hankinson was fired from Louisville's police department in June. If found guilty, he faces up to 5 years on each count. The judge issued a warrant for his arrest under a $15,000 bond. And we do want to take you live to Louisville right now, where people are gathered in that city in response to the verdict. We've seen a number of people being arrested here in the last 10 minutes. About 4 people is what I've seen here. This is where police are gathering, and some protesters are around them as well. If you look between the officers' legs, you will see some protesters on the ground in handcuffs. We will continue to monitor this situation and have more as it develops on WFMY News 2 at 5. Late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is lying in repose today and tomorrow at the U.S. Supreme Court. Thousands are expected to pay their respects to the late justice.
During a private ceremony today, Chief Justice John Roberts said Justice Ginsburg's many decisions and dissents while serving on the court will guide them for decades. Supreme Court police officers carried her casket up the court steps and into the Supreme Court's Great Hall. Ginsburg was described as a fighter and trailblazer for gender and racial equality. The public can pay their respects on the portico at the top of the court steps until 10 o'clock tonight, and again from 9 until 10 tomorrow. President Donald Trump is expected to visit the Supreme Court to pay his respects tomorrow. Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden is in Charlotte today. He hosted a Black Economic Summit. Small business owners, teachers, and other workers talked about the impact of the coronavirus on their lives. Biden highlighted his plan for racial equity in the American economy. That plan gives $70 billion to historically Black universities and $150 billion to Black-owned small businesses. He says as president, he plans to raise the minimum wage.
If you make less than $15 an hour, working 30 hours a week, you're making a wage under the poverty level. No one in America should be working for a 40-hour-a-week job and still be living in poverty.
Biden says raising the minimum wage stimulates economic growth. President Donald Trump is expected to visit the Queen City tomorrow. It will be his 5th visit to North Carolina in a month.
The first presidential debate is scheduled for next Tuesday. The debate will be in Cleveland, Ohio. Moderator Chris Wallace announced a number of topics that the debate will include, like the Supreme Court, coronavirus, the economy, race and violence across the nation, and the integrity of the election.
Let's take a look now at your 4 to 5 roundup. The Duke's Mayo Classic Bowl is officially rescheduled. The game between Wake and Notre Dame is now December 12th instead of this Saturday. It had to be postponed after 7 Notre Dame players tested positive for the coronavirus. In addition, Wake Forest announced its only non-conference matchup will be against Campbell, and that will happen October 2nd at home. Fans will be allowed in Truist Field, thanks to Governor Cooper's latest announcement that says large outdoor venues can reopen at 7% capacity. Walmart is starting to deliver at-home COVID-19 tests by drone. A trial is now underway in North Las Vegas, and those deliveries will expand to upstate New York next month. Patients will self-administer a nasal swab and send it to Quest Diagnostics for testing. Last month, the company announced a similar drone delivery program for groceries and household items that happened here in Fayetteville. 20,000 American flags now cover the grounds of the National Mall in Washington, D.C. Each one of them represents 10 victims of the U.S. coronavirus pandemic. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited the memorial before leading a moment of silence on Capitol Hill Tuesday. Health experts believe the coronavirus will surge again as fall gets underway and the flu season starts. One of the disease models used by the White House now projects the United States death toll will rise to more than 375,000 by the end of this year. The Greensboro Children's Museum is working toward building their COVID-19 emergency fund. The pandemic caused the museum to close its doors for a couple of months, so they weren't able to make money. In just 5 weeks, they've raised $120,000, but they're hoping to raise $150,000. They're hoping you'll donate to keep the doors open. Museum officials say they are grateful for the support.
Temperatures today, comfortable. You can see the clouds moving in. I was actually looking out the window right now. The clouds are starting to build in ahead of the next frontal system that'll bring us a little rain as we head into the weekend. But rain chances is just kind of a hit or miss spotty shower type situation, not a washout. So look at the temperatures for now. Upper 60s, low 70s all across the triad in the entire viewing area. Tonight, 58 degrees. Those clouds already building in. Not as cool with that blanket of cloud cover holding in the heat that the earth absorbs from the sun all day long, and it radiates back in and the clouds just kind of hold it there. So 71 tomorrow, we're going to say mostly cloudy. You'll see a little bit of sun here and there. If you look across the region with that satellite and radar combo, you get the idea that rain is streaming up into our general direction basically over the next couple of days. We'll remain dry and cool for today, but then the clouds build in and those showers, although they'll be sporadic and hit or miss, we have that chance of those coming in maybe late Thursday and through the weekend. Again, not constant, just a couple of showers here or there and scattered. We'll show you the 7-day forecast with a peek through the weekend and into next week coming up.
The state health department created a smartphone app hoping it helps slow the spread of COVID-19. The Slow COVID NC app is available for you to download now, but how does it work and is it safe? We want to start with the basics here. Once you get the free app from the Apple or Google Play Store, it will ask you to turn on your Bluetooth and allow to send you notifications. Dr. Mandy Cohen says the app helps keep you and other people safe.
The Slow COVID NC app uses Bluetooth technology to let users know if they may have been exposed to someone with COVID-19, helping them to act quickly to protect themselves, their family, and their community.
Dr. Cohen also says the app will not use your personal information or your location, and all of that is because it uses Bluetooth to tell if you've been close to someone and for how long. Computer science professor at NCANT, Dr. Maud Anwar, says to understand that you have to understand how Bluetooth works.
Bluetooth is one of the radio wave that is short range, like Wi-Fi, but the signal is very weaker. So that's why you can only connect two devices within certain range.
All right, so I asked Chad here to help demonstrate how this all works. It can be a little bit confusing. First things first, we both have to have the app on our phone and Bluetooth on. And downloading the app, it's totally voluntary. It's not mandatory. Good?
Good.
All right, so once it's downloaded, the app is going to generate what they're calling an anonymous token for each of our devices. Now that token doesn't know who we are or where we are. It just knows our phones are around each other. It also knows what the date is.
Right, so right now our phones are recording how close we are to each other and how long we're around each other.
Exactly right. So say I test positive for the virus. I go into my app, I report that information. The app would then notify you that you've been in contact with someone who has it in the last 2 weeks. But Chad, it's not going to tell you who that person was. It won't say it's me because it doesn't know who I am or where I am.
Right, and all that information is stored on your phone, not a cloud or a database where someone would have access to it.
Exactly, and that's why Dr. Anwar says Bluetooth is pretty reliable when it comes to protecting your information and letting you know if you've been exposed to the virus.
I would say risk is not very high in terms of losing your personal information. And I would say that generally it gives you some idea that you are maybe exposed and do some precaution against it.
All right, so Bluetooth doesn't need your personal info to trade that information that the Slow COVID NC app needs. But there are two things that Dr. Anwar says you need to think about. First, if you have an Android phone, you have to turn on your location services for your Bluetooth to work. But the health department says they aren't using your location, so you don't need to worry about that. Second, for the app to scan for other tokens in the background, your Bluetooth has to stay on at all times. And Dr. Anwar says there is a risk of other players collecting your data if you never turn your Bluetooth off. To protect yourself from that, you might consider turning your Bluetooth off when you're home and not around anyone else. You also want to read the fine print, see what any app is doing with your information, and make sure it's always up to date. He adds the Apple and Google Play Store to both vet those apps they carry extensively, so that's a good sign for the health department's new approach to controlling the virus. Stick around, the 4 to 5 is coming back.
Cleanup efforts are underway in Winston-Salem after 2 fires displaced more than a dozen people. A fire at Winston-Salem's rescue mission was sparked around 6:30 Tuesday night. Fire officials said a faulty bathroom exhaust fan is to blame. And then an early morning fire at an apartment complex on Motor Road displaced 27 people, many of them children. Several of the families returned to recover some of their belongings. One of the young ones impacted said she only had time to grab a precious photo.
I was going to take more, but I couldn't reach, and I felt sad. So I got this one, the only one that I can reach.
Significant smoke, but no fire damage, and we're blowing out the building now with some industrial fans. The smell is clearing out.
Investigators estimate the cost of the damage to the rescue mission is around $20,000. Staff are working to relocate displaced residents, while the Red Cross is helping the families from the apartment complex. More of your 4 to 5 when we come back.
You know, the weather has been pretty nice over the past few days all across the Piedmont, so it just makes sense to get outside and enjoy fall, at least until the rain moves in, right? Well, the folks at the Greensboro Parks and Rec, they know that this is probably more important for the kiddos than even it is for the adults, although we all enjoy it. That's why they're celebrating a special week. I spoke with Shelley Scott about Take Your Child Outside Week. Shelley, I have 4 kids, so I understand how the importance of doing this. Let's talk a little bit about Take a Child Outside Week. You're kind of celebrating getting back out to nature with the kids.
Yeah, so it's always awesome when we can introduce our kids to nature. I think kids have a lot fewer experiences to do that nowadays. We've seen that in a lot of different research studies and books that have been published. About this lack of connection with nature. So we are celebrating Taco Week with a few different activities. So we have one for each weekday starting tomorrow, and that one is looking at leaves. So we're going to be doing some different observations of leaves, and each of our activities will have a short discovery hike. So our kids are going to be able to walk along through nature and take a look at the things that they can find around them.
I know you said that you were even going to do one of the days is about ants, and I'll tell you one thing, little boys love bugs. So what are you doing with that?
What we're going to do is take a few different types of food and put them on little paper plates and scatter them around, and then we're going to observe their behavior, and we're going to chart the differences of ants on specific types of food and see what they like more, what they like less.
That is awesome. This is fun, and it's so important to get kids back outside. You're so right about this. And we'll be able to get these activities online, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so these are in-person activities, so masks are required, but for more information about them, visit greensboro-nc.gov/Miss Shelley.
Shelley, this is awesome. Love it, love it, love getting the kids outside. Thanks for what you're doing. So obviously some pretty cool activities. And by the way, if you missed that webpage, because that was a lot, wasn't it? All you have to do is find this story on WFMYnews2.com. We've linked you to that site there. Keep in mind, these are in-person events. You can read about them online, but you have to go in person. They are outdoors and socially distanced.
And registration is now open for Greensboro's Adult Double Elimination Kickball Tournament. That tournament is October 12th through the 16th. Games are at 6:30 and 8. It costs $150 for each team, and players are being asked to practice social distancing and wash their hands during the tournament. Face coverings are encouraged, and handshakes, high fives, and personal contact, it's not allowed. Kickballs will be sanitized between innings, and officials will wear protective equipment. You can register on the City of Greensboro's website. We'll be right back.
Rolling Stone magazine is changing how they rank the best of the best. Now, several years back, they ranked the top 500 albums of all time, but this week they made some big changes. The new list is less rock-centric and now includes other genres. Some of the more notable changes were Marvin Gaye's What's Going On album, bumping the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album to get the #1 spot. The revamp features 154 new artists and 86 new albums. The process took more than a year to complete.
So I asked you on my Facebook page, I said, what do you think about this? What is your opinion of the all-time best album? I'm going to tell you the rockers were out in full force today. They had a lot to say about Rolling Stone. MD Moore said, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, followed closely by Abbey Road. To drop Sgt. Pepper's down to 24 is a travesty, he says. Melissa Lynn Love says, not Marvin Gaye. He's top 10, but maybe not #1. Jeff Harvey says Thriller. That might be one of my #1, at least in the top 5. Dan Nichols says this is tough. Personally, I'd say either the Beatles' White Album, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, or Led Zeppelin 4. Bill Rafton says Working Man's Dead by the Grateful Dead. And Ed Garabrandt says Kanye, #17, but nothing by Led Zeppelin in the top 50. This list is broken. Yeah, there were some pretty strong opinions out there. That's for sure. You know, everybody, you got to commend Rolling Stone for trying to kind of take it all in. They are traditionally a rock and roll magazine, but now they're expanding into pop and all kinds of genres.
Yeah, well, that was what I was thinking, Eric, when Tej was reading the story. I like that they're incorporating some other genres because they deserve to be on the best of all time list too.
Right, and I was trying to think, I'm like, who would I like to see on the top 100? Now, granted, I haven't read the top 100, so I don't know, but for me, I would have to say Adele. I loved her album 21. That was her second studio album, and for me, every song serves a purpose, and for me, it was an instant classic.
There is no way that I could pick a #1 best album of all time because I like so many different genres that'd be impossible for me. I could probably pick 50 that I think deserve to be in the top 50, but I couldn't rank them.
You're not going beach music for #1, Eric?
You know, I mean, I like it all. Honestly, I could tell you a classical song slash, you know, hard rock and Broadway. I mean, you name it. I've got my collection is so strange.
Yeah, well, this is fun. Let's continue this conversation on our Facebook page. Use our hashtag 4to5. What should be your favorite top 10, whatever it was, best of all time album? I don't know. Eric, take it away, the forecast.
Well, we all know that the Beatles have to be in there somewhere, that's for sure, and maybe even the Rolling Stones. All right, how about 69 degrees for the Triad right now, 79 in Elizabeth City, Wilmington at 75, and Asheville 71. As we head into the night tonight, those overnight lows not quite as cold as they have been thanks to the cloud cover, so we'll hold it in the upper 50s. It'll be a fairly mild morning. 68 by midday with a high temperature, we think in the lower 70s. Cooler weather is coming in for our Friday, and we've got a chance of rain. You can see the clouds building in, see a little bit of a shower down there in Rowan County, but overall our rain chances are just going to slip into about a 20 to 40% chance, and we just kind of stay there for a few days as we see a lot of that moisture streaming in. It is technically the remnants of beta, but for us, again, it's just a chance of a shower or two. So rain chances, the best day of rain will be Friday. That one we can qualify as some heavier showers with a high of 68. Before your weekend, only a 30% chance and high in the mid to upper 70s.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together.
Good afternoon and welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner here with Eric Chilton and Dehasia Moise, who are working from home this afternoon. So glad that you are joining us. Remember, this is an interactive show and we are chatting with you during the breaks. You can join us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Governor Roy Cooper says starting on October 2nd, outdoor venues can open up at 7% capacity. So that means some fans will be able to go to the Panthers' next home game. That's October 4th against the Cardinals.
WFMY News 2's Amanda Ferguson finds two special people who plan to be there.
Panthers rookie defensive end Yetur Gross-Matos' parents were not allowed to come inside Bank of America Stadium to watch their son's first NFL game. But that didn't stop them from taking the trip from Virginia to Charlotte.
Yetur, we are out here. They can keep us out of the stadium, but they can't keep us out of the city. So just know that we are out here. We are here to see your first game, your NFL debut. We're so proud of you. We love you. And we wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Yetur, we love you. Go Panthers!
Go Panthers, baby, go Panthers.
We've been there every step of the way, from early on through high school, through college, and through the pros. And, for us to finally get there and not be able to get in the stadium, it was a killer. I mean, it absolutely, it was killing me inside.
Sakina and Robert Matos say they haven't missed one of Yetur's football games in years, and they weren't going to let a pandemic keep them from at least coming into town for his first NFL game.
We're like, just imagine, the day of, just that wall separates us from him on the first time playing on the field.
That wall won't be in the way anymore. Bank of America Stadium will be allowed to open at 7% capacity, just in time for the Panthers' second home game of the season.
Of course, we're going to be there.
The Matos family is planning to be two of about 5,000 fans allowed in the stands.
I'll probably be a little bit emotional.
It'll be a much different experience than the Matos' first home game. They say they watched that game at Yetur's apartment complex all by themselves. But now they get to go to the stadium, and they say they'll be there as early as they can before kickoff.
Yeah, I'm really glad to see that those key metrics we've been monitoring in our state are allowing for friends and family to go to some of these games. The parents were the cutest couple I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm surprised, that my parents haven't done something like this, like stood outside of the studio here while I do the news. Like, this is something that they would do.
That is hilarious. And I've met your mother, Maddie. She was like the first person to introduce me to Mount Airy when I first came to town. So I know she has a lot of spirit. She even wrote my name there on the banner. And I was just coming to town. So imagine if you were on that same stage, she would have gone all out.
I forgot all about that. She baked a cake and everything.
Yes, she did. And it was delicious.
That doesn't surprise me. I know Maddie's mom too, and she probably is out in front of the station now. You just don't know it, Maddie. That's what's happening right now. I have to say that as a parent, if one of my kids ever had a chance to do something like that and play for a team, you bet I'll be at that stadium as close to town as possible. I loved watching them. That really warmed my heart. Great story there. We love that. Okay, I want to talk about, as long as we're chatting about sports, a lot of us, myself included, you may have seen the wheelchair basketball leagues. I love watching that because those people are so strong to be able to do that. Super inspiring for athletes. But get ready for wheelchair tennis. I have not seen a lot of this before. nctennis.com kind of turned me on to a new organization that's only about a year old. It's called Wheel Serve. Wheel, like a wheel spinning, and Serve, NC. And they're doing some pretty good things about spreading this wheelchair tennis, even in the triad. I spoke with Kelly Flowhouse, who started this nonprofit. Kelly, I had never heard of Wheel Serve until just recently, but this sounds like such a great thing you guys are doing. Explain, where did the idea come from, and then we'll get into what you guys do day in and day out.
Sure. Wheel Serve North Carolina was created with the support of USTA North Carolina by myself and my co-executive director, Helen Leonard. We both participate in a Charlotte wheelchair tennis program for many years, myself as a player and Helen as a volunteer, and we realized how few and far between wheelchair tennis programs were in our state. So that is why we created Wheel Serve North Carolina.
How do the rules work with this? Because I'm envisioning in my head, how is it just like regular tennis? Are the courts different? How does that work?
That's the beauty of wheelchair tennis. There is absolutely no difference, except we get 2 bounces. So it's very easy for a wheelchair player and an able-bodied player to play on the same court. It's the same size court, just 2 bounces.
So talk about this, and if people at home can't tell, but you are in a wheelchair.
Yes.
From a mental standpoint, what does Wheel Serve mean to people that it will help?
Well, it's life-changing. Wheelchair tennis for me, I had an accident, and after my accident, I was lost in every way. I lost my identity, I lost my home, and I lost my direction. When I came to wheelchair tennis, it showed me that life goes on, I have a purpose, and I'm more than my injury. And we want to show other people that they too are capable and that their life matters. So we want them to take the leap and try wheelchair tennis.
It's a great thing you're doing, because I do think that's right. It's all mental, and this is just helping people get that leg up and get their life back on track again. Thanks, Kelly, for taking time out. Best of luck with this. Good stuff you're doing. Yeah, she had reiterated when we finished the interview, and we were just chit-chatting for a little bit. She said this is really more mental than it even is physical. I mean, obviously it's good for you physically if you're in a wheelchair to get that active, but she said this gave me almost like a will to keep going and get up every day and face life, you know?
Yeah, and Eric, I really liked when she touched on how people in wheelchairs and people who aren't in wheelchairs can play on the same court at the same time. The rules just change slightly.
Yeah, and there's something about just building a community and having an outlet like that where you are with people that know exactly how you're feeling and you're able to just have such a great time together. I think is something that is so needed, especially now in a pandemic. You know, we need an outlet. So I love the work that they're doing.
Eric, you're introducing us to all kinds of new sports this week. We had, what was it, foot golf yesterday, today, wheelchair tennis growing in North Carolina.
Not planned, just happens to fall into my lap that way. So these are good ones, though. I'm happy with it.
I like it.
All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup right now. A grand jury has indicted a fired Kentucky police officer on criminal charges related to the Breonna Taylor case, but not for her death. This afternoon, Brett Hankinson was charged with 3 counts of wanton endangerment for firing into the apartments of Taylor's neighbors. The charge is a Class D felony and carries a penalty of 1 to 5 years in prison. Taylor was shot multiple times by officers who burst into her home on March 13th during a narcotics investigation. Those officers were not charged as it was found to be self-defense. The Uncle Ben's rice brand is getting a new name, Ben's Original. Parent company Mars unveiled the changes today. It's the latest company to drop a logo criticized as a racial stereotype. Packaging with the new name will hit store shelves next year. The company is still deciding on an image to accompany the new name. Mars also announced several other initiatives, including a $2 million investment in culinary scholarships for aspiring Black chefs in partnership with the National Urban League. The House of Representatives has passed new legislation making it illegal to discriminate against one's hair texture or style. The Crown Act explicitly prohibits discrimination on the basis of hair texture or style commonly experienced by Black Americans. The Crown Act stands for Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair. The legislation applies to any federally funded program, housing, public accommodations such as hotels and employment. The Senate will still need to act on the bill. And Elton John announces his return to the stage for his global farewell Yellow Brick Road tour. He was originally scheduled to perform at the Greensboro Coliseum on May 23rd, but it was postponed due to the pandemic. He'll now stop in the Gate City April 19th, 2022, so mark your calendars. John said on social media he misses performing and looks forward to seeing his fans in person again.
I have already put it in the calendar. I had tickets to that. All right, let's check the radar, shall we? That's what we're concerned with. Talking about rain and some of the moisture streaming in. Friday is our best chance of maybe some moderate to heavy showers. That's going upwards to about a 70% chance. Most of the other days it's at 20 to 40 we've been talking about. So we'll kind of keep our eyes on Friday. You can see still good distance before the heavy stuff gets to us, but we will be watching that closely over the next day or so. Here's what it looks like on the surface chart. Winds out of the south warming us up a little bit around the periphery of the high pressure. Now, as that moves away and that opens the door for the rain to move in again Friday, it's probably an overnight Thursday night into Friday morning situation when we see some heavier showers staying with us until probably Friday evening. I think just that little that black broken line there represents what's left of a frontal boundary that will move through. And then for the weekend, it's just a slight chance of a shower. So overnight lows tonight at 58, and then we'll go to 71 tomorrow, only upper 60s and rainy Friday, but a mid to upper 70s weekend with a slight rain chance.
All right, what time is it?
4:40.
That is literal. Okay, here's what I'm doing. I'm thinking it's the time we start thinking, hey, what am I going to eat for dinner?
Oh, I start thinking about that after I finish lunch.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you are that right along. All right, let me ask you, how many times do you get something to eat from somewhere else? Like you're not making it at home.
Oh, I feel personally attacked, Tanya.
There's no shame. I'm not going to throw any shade.
I mean, it's like 6 times a week.
Okay, all right. But again, party of one, sometimes it's a little bit easier to just take out, right, than others.
Absolutely.
I understand this. Okay, so with COVID, most of us are eating takeout more times than usual, right? And so this study is very timely. Let me show you this. New testing from Toxic Free Future sampled takeout containers, 29 samples from 16 locations, 6 fast food chains. And what they found, I got to tell you, it wasn't pretty. Some of the biggest offenders were chains that are considered healthy or organic options but have chemicals in their takeout containers.
That doesn't add up. The connection is not there.
Right, healthy food, really bad chemicals in the takeout container. Healthy food, really bad takeout. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what kinds of chemicals, what they're being used for and why, and which chains are ready to make some changes. That's tonight coming up at 5 o'clock. All right, 2 Wants to Know is getting you answers about your money as well. The North Carolina Attorney General is here for 15 minutes tonight answering your questions about scams and robocalls and price gouging and settlements and things like that. You can text your questions 336-379-5775.
Reports are suggesting a new date for Amazon Prime Day is now selected. The annual sale is reportedly scheduled for October 13th, this is according to some sources. The day normally happens in July, but it was delayed this year because of the pandemic. Amazon hasn't said how long this sale will last, but we do know that last year, Prime Day was 48 hours long.
Oh yes, Halloween is coming up, and the CDC, they released some new guidelines that rate the risk of certain Halloween activities so you and your family can enjoy the spooky season safely. They also released guidelines for Black Friday shopping, Thanksgiving, and Dia de los Muertos. With those new suggestions out, we ask you if this changes any of your plans. Let's take a look at your comments. Beverly Anderson said if you need to do it, make up pre-made gift bags and put them on the steps so you don't have to answer the door for trick-or-treaters. Wanda Creedle says, my brother loves to sit on the porch and give out candy to the kids, and we have kids that come by from the elementary school that we live by because they see the decorations and the lights that my brother puts up. It makes him happy, so happy when the kids talk to him about it. He's wanting to do the trick-or-treating for him and the kids for some normal time. John Park said, so the one holiday where participants wear masks and gloves is unsafe. Different kinds of masks and gloves, but he has a good point.
That's what I've been saying all along. You're already, most kids are going to be kind of covered up anyway. So I think that'll work. We're doing it like the one lady said, where the little bags are in the buckets on the front porch and you just take one and you can see the kids through the glass.
I always liked the idea, the concept of trick-or-treating, but that's not something that my parents were into growing up. So I was not allowed to go trick-or-treating unless I was staying at my cousin's house. And then that one night we did, Mom. So yes.
The tea is being spilled on the 4 to 5 this afternoon, folks.
Yes.
Have you guys seen the candy shoot where the guy put like a PVC pipe and he shot candy down off of his porch for the trick-or-treaters? I think that's a brilliant idea.
Be dangerous.
Yeah, I was on Nextdoor today, and there's actually a guy in Greensboro working on that.
Oh,
so wherever you go, you may see it. You may see it here in Greensboro. Yeah. All right, and some other news right now. Walmart is shaking up its usual Black Friday tradition. The company will have Black Friday deals available through the holiday season. Now, the store says most customers plan to shop before Black Friday and are shopping for items fitting their current lifestyles. So they are increasing availability for items like loungewear, workout gear, and workout equipment on top of its usual electronics, games, and toy sales. We'll have more details for you as soon as they are released. In the meantime, Home Depot is also increasing Black Friday deals, their time frame. Their deals will now last through November and December. App users can access deals sooner than online and in-store shoppers. More of your 4 to 5 when we come back.
Hi there. Hold on one second. Let me put my ear. Hello.
There are now 100 days left until 2021. Can you believe it? The year is flying by. So I asked you on my Facebook page, what are you most looking forward to in 2021? Let's see what a few of you had to say today. Laura says, my second granddaughter. How exciting, Laura. Ronnie says, going out visiting family without Zoom and going to high school football games. Jerry Neal says a vaccine and a much needed vacation. Maury Kennedy says having 2020 behind us. Adrian says maybe the ability to travel, but at this point, I'll just be glad to still be alive. Linda says visiting family, going to see movies, just being outside without worrying about getting sick. And Rosie says going to actually being able to hold my newest grandson than just FaceTime, even though I'm grateful we can see each other. I think that's the biggest thing, right? Being able to see family and friends without as many restrictions, maybe being able to cross state lines a little bit easier and get that connection that we've been missing for so long.
Right, and it's not just seeing friends and family, because I feel like many people are able to do that at this point, but just being able to be there without the stress of the virus. I think that's the biggest thing for me. It's hard for me to enjoy any time I do have with loved ones because I'm worried, am I sick? Am I giving it to them? Are they giving it to me? Are we doing everything we can to be safe?
Yeah, I think it's getting to the point now. I mean, I can feel that the tension has gone down maybe a notch. I know that we've got a long way to go, because even when, let's say, the vaccine comes along in a decent amount of time, the public confidence, I think, is going to take a while. And so those numbers will start to increase with the amount of people we let go. I think it's going to take people a year or two before we're completely back to normal, but we're going to make big strides by next year, I hope. That's my thoughts. That's just my 2 cents.
Hey, it's not your day.
Not
you don't get a 2 cents. It's Dehasia's turn.
That's my 2 cents early. Gosh. Since I'm off Thursday, Friday, I'll take it down.
Okay.
My day.
Let's talk about our forecast, shall we? That much I know I can do. Hey, look, overnight lows not as cold as they have been at 58 degrees. Midday is 68 tomorrow, and then I think we'll hit some high temperatures in the low 70s. Now, cloud cover's already building in as we speak, and that's going to be the rule heading into tomorrow. We could see a shower or two, but really Friday is the day when you see all that rain on the radar in the southwest, down to the southwest of us toward Jackson, Mississippi, and in Louisiana, the remnants of beta, all that moisture is going to come up our way. Friday is the day we'll watch closely for heavier showers. Notice on the map here, you see the timestamp top right corner of the screen there. That takes us through as we go into Thursday evening. You can see the rain kicking in. It's really a Thursday overnight into Friday morning is when a lot of the heavier rains will move through. We're hoping by Friday evening we get to the backside of that system, and then we'll still see some cloud cover and a slight rain chance for the weekend, but it's nothing like we'll see on Friday. Friday's the chance we'll watch for some isolated flooding with that 70% chance of rain. 58 will be the overnight low tonight, not as cool with the cloud cover in place. Again, that high tomorrow at 71. Long range forecast 68, a cooler rainy day on Friday, then mid to upper 70s with only a 30% chance of showers. That's pretty much Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Rain chances start to move out with a high of 73 by Wednesday.
Tomorrow is a big day. The Guilford County School Board will vote on when students will return to the classroom. We are digging into their options and the last-minute push to weigh in before a decision is made. That is next on WFMY News 2 at 5.